Look, don't look at my notes. I'm going to write them in just a second. Hey, how's everyone doing? My name's Kurt. I'm a dad who draws, and in today's drawing lesson, we're going to talk about sketching on a vacation. I just got back from a trip out to Washington to visit my wife's brother, and I brought all my supplies. I brought some paints. I brought Sketchbook, some different pencils and stuff, and I ended up sketching only once for about 3 minutes. So I was a little bummed, but kind of hard sometimes to drop out to get your stuff out when you're with family because it's so it's just still focused. So, anyways, but. That's what we're going to do today is we're going to go over the drawing that I did there and actually draw it together as a group. And I want to show you the steps that I take in order to sketch on location anywhere. Okay, so these are the three things I really want you to keep in mind here. All right, so I want you to think of composition. Composition. This is really important. All right, we talk about the rule of thirds. Okay, composition. Okay. Next, you're going to think of shape. Remember, when you're drawing in public or you're drawing, you don't have a lot of time and you want to move quickly. By using shape will help to speed it up a little bit. And then the last thing is you're going to work in your details after that. And what are details? They're going to be tone, texture, and you might even throw some mass or volume. VOLUMNE, something like that. Boy, my spelling is awful, but you get the idea. Okay? And I am live, by the way, so if you have a question, just throw it out there. Now let me bring in our photo here. And I hope I put it someplace. Let me see, there it is. Okay. Not that one. Oh yeah, that's the one. All right, let's gotta make this small. All right. So when we were up there, we happened to stop at this location to drink some coffee. And I grabbed this picture here. I want to make sure this is bright enough. Okay. I grabbed this photo here and I ended up drawing it. So let's go over the steps together right now. And I will show you. So what did I draw it with? I kept it as simple as possible, and I really used a ballpoint pen. There's no time to erase. We could just kind of quickly jump right into it, right? Plus, look at this. This was from the hotel we stayed at, this Holiday Inn. So even if you go on vacation and you forget to bring your supplies, just even a notepad and a ballpoint pen shall do the trick. Okay, so let's talk about composition first. Composition is super easy, and if you just stick to this idea, I think you will find that you will have a lot of success. And the idea is the rule of thirds. All right, so let's just say we were going to draw a landscape. Okay, the rule of thirds essentially says that you want to have 2/3 given over to one idea and another third given to a secondary idea. So it's like the land might be in the bottom third. You see that? And so this might be some interest. The sky might take up the top 2/3. So this is 2/3. This is 1/3. You never want to put a dead center in the middle, okay? All right? You can also change it up a little bit. You might say, wow, there's something really interesting in the land, so I'm going to make the land to be 2/3 and the sky to be 1/3. You might have some sky here, and you might have an interesting house down here in the bottom. All right. This also works in a vertical format. So you can have it where you might have the side of a building. Okay, that might be in the 1/3 area, and then you might have some smaller buildings in the distance, and they would be in the 2/3 area. Okay, let's see now. What are we connected to? Let me. All right, I think we're back live. Sorry about that. I'm back. I am back. All right, let's keep going here. So here we are. So we have, you can also use this rule of thirds for a, don't fail me now. You can also use this rule of thirds for a vertical format. And it could also come over here just like this, you see? So this also might be a big building, and then you just might have a little bit of a ledge, or this could be even a tree over here, and then maybe this is some sort of stream. You see that? So you're using the rule of thirds. You can also use a rule of thirds in this standpoint, where if you do have a vertical, again, you could put like the landscape at the bottom thirds, and then make the sky to be the top 2/3. Anyways, that's essentially what you're doing. You're trying to break your composition up by thirds. Okay. All right. So that's number one. Next thing I want you to think about is shape. All right. So what do I mean by shape? So let's bring up our picture here. And let's get right into it right away, okay? And then I will describe shape as we go along. All right, so I'm going to use a ballpoint pen here. And first thing I want to do is to draw some type of framework I'm going to work in. So looking at my picture, I'm just going to quickly draw a framework. Now, first thing I notice in my picture here, I'm going to use a rule of thirds in this this dock area. I'm going to kind of put this at the bottom. So it's in the bottom third. So you can kind of see I've just kind of quickly come across like this. And if I'm going to, the way I'm seeing this, I'm going to crop it. Let me show you the way I'm looking at it right now. I'm looking at, in my head, something like this. That's how I'm cropping it in my head. All right, with this being said, then, I'm going to start with my shape. So I'm looking at the hotel, okay, the big hotel, and I'm going to start right up here, and I'm just going to quickly drop in the general shape. over here in the distance, I see another building. I'm just going to quickly. It doesn't have to be accurate. It's just a quick sketch. It's a quick idea. There's the other shape. And then I have the other building that's coming in from over here. All right. From shape, remember we're going with composition, shape, and then details. All right. And we're looking at tone, texture, and mass or volume. So tone and texture. So looking at this building, at this hotel here, I'm going to start to break down some of these roof lines. And I'm just kind of quickly following the shape there. Remember, it doesn't have to be completely accurate. It's a sketch. All right, now I'm looking at the roof and it has a bit of tone change. Look at this. So I could see one tone coming in like this. And then there's another shape on the roof, and I'm just dropping in small pieces here. Now this roof is a different tone than the face. So I'm just going to come in here and add Okay, if I look at this next building right over, I can see there's a bunch of trees here. So, okay, that's great. So I'm just going to quickly outline what those trees are, and again, add a little bit of tone. Looking back at my hotel here, there is also some trees on this side. So let's just quickly drop in some of these shapes here. Add some tone. Okay, now if I go back to the roof here, I could see that there's like two sides of the roof. So there's this side, it's a little bit darker in value. So I'm just going to drop a tone there. And then this one has a little bit different, a little bit of slightly different value. And then over there. See, I'm all start to work within this shape, all right? Okay, now if I look, there's this green. I can kind of see this green canopy right about there. There's another big one. Right about there. Now my proportion is getting off, but that's okay. I'm not worried about that. So they have these, then I could see that they have these like awnings. What is that? That noise is driving me crazy. All right, let's keep doing that. All right, let's go ahead and look at this opening right here. So, wow, it is not my day for for streaming. I'm switching again. Hold on. All right, we'll keep going here. Okay, looking at my photo here, I can see that there's some negative spaces in this right underneath this awning here. Okay, so now I've got a whole bunch of tone down. Now I'm going to add some texture or some additional ideas here. So I'm going to come back into my drawing now. And I can see in this hotel here, there's this facade that is of a different value. And it has these little windows right there. You see that? And then above it, it has this kind of structural decorative element. I'm just slowly working my way across here. Okay, I think we are back now. Oh boy. I guess my check finally went through. All right, let's keep going here, okay? All right. After we've lost everybody. All right, so what I'm doing now is I'm just kind of working my way across this picture here. Adding little bits of detail as I go along. So look, there's this antenna. You see that? It's really the method here. You don't follow your picture exactly. You're using elements of it. Okay, so there's just a quick sketch of this hotel that we were looking at from across the water. Now let's get into some of these trees here. So I'm thinking of mass and shape. So look at this one right there. I'm just gonna come in here and break up the edges just a bit. And then there's another one, a little bit lower here. And then you get this large one. I'm going to make sure it's a little bit lighter tone. And if I look closely, I can add a secondary tone as I break that tree down into smaller shapes. Okay, I'm going to jump over here to these trees. Okay, so here's a big secret or a trick. It's called atmospheric perspective. It means an object that is in the distance becomes a lot more faint. So, and you can use this trick to give your sketch a lot of depth. For example, this building that's right back here, you could kind of see it in the picture. It's the same intensity as this hotel that's in front of it. Well, let's change that as an artist. So I'm just going to come back here and very lightly with my ballpoint pen, just fill it in with a little bit of value. And that's it. That's all I'm going to put there. And so this, by putting it in with a lighter value, you're pushing it back and it gives your picture a lot of depth. All right, let's see this guy over here. Let's get this last building over here. And he's coming in like this maybe, right? And then he's got a series of windows. And we could just drop those in with some little squiggles there, you see? And I'm just going to put a negative, like just a shape to show maybe like there's some things on the top of that building. Now in the back here, all right, let's put another building here, but I'm just going to outline a building shape. This will just kind of show that there's something going on back here. And of course, I just noticed they've got this Canadian flag up here. So we'll just drop a flag in. Okay, let's work on the bottom third now. So I'm looking at it, and here is this wall that goes down to the waterfront. And I can see there's a series of bushes. So let's draw the shape of those. All right, got my dot coming in, so I'm just gonna kind of use this line right here to help tell me the story of like the perspective that's going on. This is gonna, all these boats are lined up, so they're all going to kind of converge in someplace out here. So I'm just gonna use these very light lines to guide me in the perspective of those boats. So let's get this first one. We're gonna just come up here and draw the shape. There's a nice big boat behind it. We'll draw that shape too. Okay, if I look at that boat there, it has this, the bow of the boat has that stern, the stern area there, and then here it kind of has this, like the place where they control the boat, the cabin, right? See, I'm just using a series of tone and line. Okay. This boat behind it also has some tone along the side there. And then back here, there's some more. So let's just drop some random shapes. Okay, these, now one thing on these boats, there are a bunch of sailboats out here. They have masts. So I'm going to just come in here with a hard line and establish some of these masts. This is all part of the detail here. Now let's say down here you had some people walking, right? So whenever we draw people, you want to think of like this. If this is the top of the person and this is the bottom of the person, this is their height. Their whole body is going to fit in the top half, and their legs are going to be in the bottom half. So all we have to do is just draw just some almost like little. I mean, these people are small. You could just draw like a mass of people, just kind of walking along. And all you have to do is just kind of sort of indicate this idea that there's people walking along down there. So this is all going to be water here. So let's create some water here. And if I'm looking at the reflection of these boats, I'm just going to come in here with a light value. And then to grab the reflection, because that's really going to tell me that this is a boat, I'm going to just darken in the area around it. See how I did that? Look, there's these bushes we have, so we can darken in these, so they're kind of being reflective in the water. And these people, we could just add little light marks in the water here to cover them as well. Here's the line of my sidewalk there, and so I can get the reflection of these trees over here like this, right? And the last thing, as far as the detail goes in this picture that I want to add, is these clouds. But I want to think of them. I want to think of them like going back in perspective. So if you go back to imagine our sailboats going back here, these clouds might be coming back in this direction. So all right, I'm going to go in now and darken in a couple more of these little darker trees, these little areas here. I'm going to punch in some of these shadows so a little bit have a darker value. And that's it. That's how I do it. All right. Shall we try another one? I have a surprise picture for you here. Let's see if I can bring it up. Let's see. We'll do that. And I'm going to do this right here. Okay, so I saw this boat. I took this picture of the boat when we were there. Let's draw this boat together, kind of going through those same ideals, okay? We had a shaky start. I feel like I owe this to you. All right, let's see here what we got. Where did I put it? Hold on here. All right, we're just going to draw it from the screen there. Okay, here we go. Let's go ahead and start with a, remember, composition, shape, details, okay? All right, there's my frame. Okay, so the water horizon line is in the bottom third, all right? So I'm just going to drop that down. And now the boat, let's get into this boat here. Now I'm just kind of looking at the negative shape over here. So what is this? Negative shape is about like that, right? On this side over here. And then I'm going to come up way over here. And I can see the stern is just about like that. You see that? There's the bottom of my boat. There's the top of my boat. That's my shape. Okay, look at these mountains. These mountains kind of, this tree line in the back is kind of like this. You see that? Now this is a fishing boat. So you can see like, right, it has this mast right here. Look at this square shape over here, right? So let's just drop that mast down just like that. And then remember, this is just a quick sketch. So then we have another mast here. There's another one right there. It has this box here that they use for this radar. Look at that. That's kind of like right there. So I'm just dropping in, just breaking it down just a bit. Okay, look at that cabin now. That cabin is like another square. Here's the shape of it. I'm just not overly worried about it. Then it has this stack. It's not like I don't know what this is. This might be like a place where the fisherman guy can go up and try and spot fish maybe, right? All right, let's keep going here. So then we have the roof. I see the roof is kind of this shape here. Keep moving. Even if you don't like what you're doing, you just gotta picture picture will have a life of its own. So we're just dropping in shapes here. Okay, look at the back of this boat here. You look at this. This has a weird shape going on. So it's like this, and it's like this. It's like that. Okay. I just broke that big shape down a little bit. Look at this is all in deep shadow. This has a round. Look at that round. This is must be where they keep like their cable or something, right? I am not a fisherman, so I have no idea what this is. Maybe a cable to pull up their net. Then this wheelhouse here, it has a lighter tone. And then it lightens up as it comes around the corner here. This window here is a dark value. And this window is also a dark value. All right, what else do we see? Okay, we see some like mechanical things up top here, right? And it looks like there's a hose wrapped. So that's an interesting shape right there. All right, if I look closely at this, it has this other rail. It's not a railing. It's just the way that the hole is being split up there. See, I'm just splitting the shape up. And then there's another one down here. This little shape here for where they might stand. This also is tone on the outside, and then it changes. You see that? And the top part is like a blue color. So that just changes in value just a little bit. Now the side of the boat also is in tone. It matches this over here. So let's just quickly drop. I'm just going to use my pencil, my ballpoint pen here, and just move across the whole entire hole. All right, this little radar thing is a little bit smaller, so I'm just gonna come in here and make some adjustments to this. There's also some mechanical elements here, and I'm just kind of putting some odd shapes there. There's a naming on the side of this boat here. And to do type, a lot of times I'll just do 2 lines and do some squiggle on the inside. Now, this bottom side of the boat, look at this. This is even a darker value here. Look at that. And there's some weird other shapes out here on the bow of the boat. What's going on there? Okay, so we're just going to add some detail here. This mechanics. I don't know what this is. It might be just parts of the ocean there or something, right? All right, I can see this lighter area of the dock here, so I'm just going to drop a little shape there. There seems to be some type of mechanical device right there coming in. Now, there's a boat that's behind it, but I personally don't want to give that a lot of, this is the boat that I'm most interested in. So all I'm going to do is really kind of just outline this form back here. Without saying too much at all. Look at that. I can see also there's some like cables or a lot of these fishing masts or whatever they are. I don't know what they are, but there's cables that this is interesting. They kind of break up. You see that? They break up the design of the page. It's quite nice, actually. There's even I like this. I don't know where this is coming from, but it's like a rope ladder. Lots of ropes and cables that are hanging down. All right, let's keep going now. I'm just going to put some more junk in this boat, right in here. Yours may not need this extra junk, but I'm just going to add it in here. All right. Looking at the distance back here, there's a shape. You see that shadow of the it's right there. See that shadow right there? And then I just see these like odd shapes. They could be more boats. I think they're more boats, but it doesn't matter. I'm just gonna put in a couple little objects back here because they're way in the distance. And then these trees, I'm just going to come in here with a lighter tone here. I'm just going to just keep focusing on shape. Remember, composition, shape, details, tone, texture, and mass. All right, let's get this water in now, this water that we have. And I think all the tone I've been doing is straight up and down. So this water, I think I'm just going to make it more horizontal. And I sure hope that I just didn't ruin it. Now remember, tone is part of it, right? Tone is important here. So look at the picture. Look at the tone of the back of the boat to the water. You see that? This has got to be much darker here. And of course, then it has a reflection in the water. Okay, now I'm just going to go in there and darken in more of these values here. Remember, it all starts just with shape. All right, I think that's going to do it for today. Sorry for the connection at the beginning there, but I think we made up for it at the end. My name's Kurt. I'm a Daddy Draws, and this is how you do a quick sketch using a ballpoint pen and looking at your reference. So next time you go on vacation, bring your sketchbook with you and just try and walk through these steps. Get your composition down, then go in there and start breaking your big picture down in shape, and then focus on tone, texture, and mass. My name's Kurt. I'm Daddy Draws, and go out there, make your day great. Okay, bye-bye, everyone.